you're the type of person who is easily put off or creeped out by older people doing weird and creepy things to and around kids, then these stories are gonna make you crawl out of your skin. It is 4 a.m. right now in the morning. I don't have anywhere specific to go. I do have to go to the doctor's. And so I'm just gonna get ready for my doctor's appointment at like 10, which is 6 hours away. Why am I doing this? Why am I getting ready so early? It's because I like to freak out about my schedule. And so something that I can get done in maybe like 30 minutes, I'll freak out if I have like too short of a gap in between two events. So I'm just like, I should probably just get that done now because I can't possibly fit a 30-minute activity into a 2-hour window. Like it's not enough time. So I'm gonna do my makeup and yeah. So as you saw in the title, today I am going to be sharing creepy ass stories about my high school teacher who used to say and do weird ass things around girls. Since you came here not to hear one, not two, but multiple juicy stories, let's take you all the way back to freshman year Terri. So when I started high school, I was very naive. I wasn't really socially prepped because I was a fucking kid. Part of what education is supposed to do is to socialize young individuals because you're not going to learn societal norms. You're not going to know how to behave around people if you just stay at home. And so me walking into high school having only, had interactions with middle school teachers and middle schoolers, I wouldn't know that there are like creepy creepers. I mean, when you're 14, you don't really understand people's intentions. So let's take you back all the way to freshman year Terri. Freshman year Terri was very optimistic, very happy, had a very positive outlook on life. Yeah, going into high school, I just by default assumed that everyone had my best intentions in mind, especially teachers. I didn't know anything about grooming. I didn't know anything about favoritism in that kind of a way. I just couldn't fathom that teachers could have desires with fucking kids. This teacher was a sophomore English teacher, and I remember hearing about him maybe freshman year, like late freshman year, because around second semester in freshman year, this is when you start picking your classes for sophomore year. And so I heard that there's this one teacher, he's like kind of easy. The reason why I would want like an easy English teacher was because I was going to be taking my first AP class, and so I wanted to put a lot of effort into that class. I wanted to set aside a lot of time for that. And so if I had an easier English teacher, then like, I don't know, it would kind of offset it. At that point in my high school journey, that's all I had heard is that this one English teacher, he was pretty lenient grader. The only weird thing is that he would like give out candy if you answered his questions correctly in class. And so I was like, okay, yeah, that seems pretty cool. And so in my second semester of freshman year, while I was signing up for classes, in my heart, I was like, I really want to get this teacher because it's gonna be chill. It's gonna be a great sophomore year. Sophomore year is gonna be great. Your sophomore year is gonna be great. Your sophomore year is gonna be great. Fast forward a couple months, towards the end of summer is when you get to see your finalized schedule. So you get to see who your teacher is, you get to see where your classrooms are, so you can kind of familiarize yourself with the schedule right before the first day of school. And so I got his class, and so I was like, yes, like I hit the jackpot because I was like, this is my dream schedule, flawless. To the counselors who put together my schedule. So his class was very lax. Even though it was an honors class, it was very, very lax, especially so if you were a girl. The way that he would grade all of our assignments is through peer grading. One of the things that he was particularly known for was for turning a blind eye for when girls would, cheat in school and like give themselves higher grades than they actually had received on the homework or on any of the tests and things of that sort. But he would be especially harsh when it came to the boys. Then people start talking to each other, and by people I mean girls. I start to hear all of these like rumors from different social groups on campus. I had a couple of friends in volleyball, and one of the things that they would tell me is that after school, whenever they would have practice during season, that teacher would be there to kind of just watch. He would just watch these like 15, 16-year-old girls in like volleyball shorts, like tight spandex, really short, jumping up and down, squatting and he would just watch. He would never go watch the boys play volleyball. So that was one of the rumors that I heard. Another thing that he'll do, and this is what he'll do in class, is that anytime he asks a question to the class, people can raise their hands and answer. And if you answer the question correctly, he'll give you a lollipop or something, or a piece of candy. I'd say probably like 9 out of 10 times whenever people raise their hands, if there was both a boy and a girl, he would always choose the girl. So he would always pick on the girls to answer. He was also kind of really fucking easy, and by fucking easy I mean whenever they answer the question correctly and they wanted like 2 pieces of candy or like 3 pieces of candy, he would just be like, yeah, you can go ahead and just take 3 pieces of candy. Whereas if a guy said that, he would say, oh, you know, would that be fair for the rest of the class? By the end of that school year, he had come up with pet names for a lot of the girls. All of us being in his class, being fucking sophomores at the time, even we could tell that that was like fucking weird. So yeah, that was sophomore year. Nothing too crazy for me. Nothing too crazy happened to me, at least. Junior year, I didn't really have too many interactions with this guy. I knew that I left his class on like good terms. Second semester of my junior year is when I'm, you know, picking classes for my senior year. And so my junior year was really difficult. And so come second semester junior year, I wanted to curate a schedule that was going to be a little bit more relaxing so that I could still enjoy my senior year while doing the most that I could. My school was experiencing a lot of staffing changes towards the end of my junior year. And so a lot of the teachers who would have taught like senior classes were either, you know, teaching other classes, maybe like some AP classes, or they were probably like moving away, something of that sort. And the teacher that I had for English in sophomore year is now suddenly teaching senior year English. And so I signed up for regular English, which is one of the classes that he would be, and I was just praying, considering that I was in his class sophomore year, I was praying that I wouldn't be put in his class. The week right before senior year started, obviously I got my schedule, and to my dismay, I get his class again. The very first day of senior year was very good. I had English for like 6th period or something, so it was after lunch. All of my classes from the morning to lunchtime, fire. Really good. I loved all of my teachers. Lunchtime, amazing. Went to a club meeting, hung out with some of my friends. It was good. Right after lunch is when I have this class, and I remember it distinctly too because I'm that traumatized. The first sound that is made in that classroom during 6th period was, "Hey TT, how's it been? Looking good." Who tells their student that they're looking good? I think I am being very rational. Like, that is very inappropriate behavior. But anyway, I'm trying to play it off so that like I can just get through this class. It's just 1 year. I thought that the rest of the class, he wasn't going to interact with me. And for the rest of that first class in English, it felt like the rest of the class wasn't there and he was just talking to me. Any question that he would have, he would point to me like, "Hey TT, what's the answer? Hey TT, don't you know this? Hey TT, what do you think the answer is? Hey TT, don't you want some candy?" Everything, every single question, every single remark would be directed towards me. I did not do anything to invite this sort of behavior. I did not do anything that would make this teacher think that I wanted special attention. I did not want special attention. I was just trying to be quiet. So that first day in that class kind of set the tone for the rest of my first semester of senior year. Yeah, he kind of just continued to put the spotlight on me throughout most of class time for all of the classes. My discomfort in that class sort of grew and grew and grew. Sometimes I wonder if he was like purposely testing my patience or if he was just fucking oblivious, like he had no social awareness or something, because some of the things that he said during the class was either super inappropriate, very uncomfortable to hear, or just completely out of touch with reality. He would ask things like, "Hey Cap, how's the swim team doing?" Or like, "Hey Cap, you swim breaststroke? I can see why you swim breaststroke." Number one, how did he know I was captain of the swim team? I never, ever told him that I was captain of the swim team. Number two, the whole breaststroke joke? No, just like major no, you don't. I think that was incredibly inappropriate, completely out of line. Yeah, he would say remarks kind of like that during the downtime. During actual class time, he also made sure to divert some of class attention towards me. Anytime another classmate would answer a question and get a lollipop, he would always ask me to confirm the answer. It kind of got exhausting to the point where I felt like that entire classroom or that class period was a time for when he was just trying to converse with me while the rest of the class was watching. It was like a very uncomfortable dynamic. So yeah, those are several of the things that he did during the first semester of my senior year that kind of just like made every single class a growing discomfort. At the time, while all of this was happening, I was experiencing like a lot of stress outside of that classroom. It was because I was applying to colleges during that semester. It was a very stressful time, and so his class was just another thing that made me resent and hate my school, which is a shame because I genuinely love going to school. There were a lot of things that were stressing me out my senior year, and that class was one of them. It was one of those growing stresses because I would feel like nervous to go to his class. I would feel weirded out with every interaction because I felt like my peers were judging me for the extra attention. Like, what did Terri do to get all of that extra attention? When really I did not do anything for him to make advances. So yeah, it was a growing pain in my ass is the technical term. For a while, he was simply giving me attention in the class. After a couple of weeks, I would say, so it escalated pretty quickly. Anytime he started to see me in the hallways, he would sometimes wink. Sometimes he'll shout across an entire hallway and call out my name. He started doing other things. It got to a point where he started making like heart-shaped signs at me, which is fucking weird. The one instant that made me incredibly uncomfortable and realize this guy is just a piece of ass was one time I wore a skirt to school because I think we were taking like club pictures and I wanted to look nice. We were collecting homework that day, and again he asked me to collect the homework. So I stood up and I collected the homework and I went up to, hand him all of the papers that I had collected. And then as I turned away to start walking back to my desk, my shoelace got untied. So I like kneeled down to tie my shoe, and I could literally feel this fucking creep's eyes on me as like I'm walking away. At this point, like the class was like kind of quiet because then everyone was just kind of doing work. His voice was like the one voice that broke the silence. He said, "Hey Terri, did you get that skirt from Forever 21?" And I remember like my friend all the way in the back of the classroom said he made like a noise, like he made like a tiny noise, like ah, like I'm in shock. Like, did he actually fucking say that? That was when I felt my face just get all warm and I started to feel really fucking creeped out. I don't care what anyone says, that's just weird. This motherfucker has fucking tenure and shit. And that was when in my mind I knew I was going to be a menace in this class. I was gonna try to embarrass him as much as possible. I was going to make his life as difficult as possible. After he made that remark, there was plenty of class time left for me to do something about it, for me to stand up to myself and say something about it, because I was like, no one is going to be a creep and get away with it. So yeah, the rest of the class plays out the way that it would normally play out. The first question he asked, of course, he was going to ask for my opinion on it. He turns his attention towards me and says, "Terri, what do you think?" And I remember saying, "Well, I think there are 35 other people in the class and you should ask them." And I was very proud of that remark. And so yeah, the rest of my senior year was just me like doing things in spite of him. I would come to class late, like maybe 10 minutes late when he had already started lecturing, and I would slam the door whenever he was saying something just to disrupt the class. One day, so I filed a formal complaint. I started to just make it public that he was doing very disturbing things, not just to me, but to other girls in this high school. I made a formal complaint to the dean at my school. I told her, there's this teacher, he's doing very inappropriate things. I wrote down all of the instances where I felt like that action was inappropriate, and and nothing happened. They just turned a blind eye. Like, they were like, oh, this is my colleague. I don't know if I want to hear this. Doesn't that just make your blood boil? I just felt angry that, you know, other teachers were enabling this guy to continue to prey on little girls. Yeah, they weren't going to do anything about it. Surprise, surprise. I thought it was just really fucked up where we live in a society where they would rather protect a weirdo tenured motherfucker than, you know, a vulnerable 16-year-old or 15-year-old or sometimes 14, 13-year-olds who are playing volleyball and are being watched by a fucking creep. And so I graduated high school knowing that this guy is going to be a teacher there forever. Yeah, whenever I graduated, I tried to put it all behind me. I was like, I'm going to change the educational system in other ways. For a while, I did not think about my experiences in that class. It wasn't until my younger sister, her sophomore year, she gets put in his class. Like, you really had to put her in that class. And so she goes to school on her first day of her sophomore year. And here is the real kicker. Here's how I know this piece of shit is a stalking creep. The first thing that he says to my sister is, tell Terri I said hi. Number one, how did he know that we were sisters? Like, we look nothing alike. We do not resemble each other in any way. Whew. Yeah, that was a long ass story. You know, I put the past behind me. My sister is now no longer in high school, which is great news because he can no longer harass any of us. I only share this story because if you're anything like me throughout high school, you were probably like very trusting of teachers, saw the good in people. Please speak out because people will hear you and they will support you. It was just appalling what happened at my high school with this guy. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you so much for sticking around and hearing my story. If you have anything to say, anything to share, the comment section is a pretty awesome place to do it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Share with me your stories if you have any. I started filming this video at like 4 a.m. in the morning. It is currently 6:12. Thank you so much again for watching. I appreciate your presence so much. If you stuck around till the end, can you go ahead and leave a sun emoji in the comments so that I know that you're out there and that you actually listened? I will see you in the next one. Bye.